Test, test. Hello. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Is everything fine? Yes. Perfect. Hello, Cuggers. Skyfalls. Jonathan. What's up? How you doing? Welcome, welcome. Let me switch this. How are you guys doing today? Or this week, really? Hello, Amos. Spale. How you guys doing? Can anyone let me know if the latency between the lights coming in and my voice, if that's like decently synced? It looks like it's decently synced because I think the voice and the tracking data is both going over Starlink, so it has to go through satellites first and then comes down back to Earth. So I'm glad that both is kind of synced well enough. Glad to hear that. But yeah, welcome everyone. So today we're going to be doing something really fun. The past week I've been working on my very first sort of turn anything into growls rack, and I have a little video where I messed around with it, and it seems like people on Twitter really liked the results of it. So let me go to media here. So let me switch the screen. There we go. I gotta be quick here with the transitions and shit. There we go. Cool. You guys can see everything. Perfect. So this is a little rack that I've been working on that I released yesterday, which is called growl. And what it does is it turns anything, and I'm literally meaning everything that you send into it, into a bass growl. So I wanted to show you guys how this works, and I wanted to cook up some music today with this little rack because it's been a lot of fun to play with. So this is a little demonstration here of how it works. So this is my voice before growl.
And this is after. This is using ring modulation to create transients from any incoming sound and essentially turning them into a growl bass. You have higher types, so you can sound a little bit different there. You can just up and down with that. You have.
So it's just me messing around with the rack and stuff, and then I'm, for example, showing it off in baseband as well. So before it, anything in the oscillator section into bass growl. This is without. With it. And so the idea here is actually on a little technique that I recently figured out. I think I posted about it as well on my Twitter. Usually if you want to see like a bunch of really cool news and production tricks and tips, you can always check out my Twitter. Well, it's called X now, right? But I did post a little trick recently on how you can turn anything into bass growls. I think that was a picture. Let me find it. Sorry, a little auto. There we go. So if you want to turn any wavetable into a growl bass, try this setup. So basically what you do is you take audio modulation. So as you can see here, we have this wavetable called window 2. I think as Serum has it as well, actually. So you could have done this in Serum for a long time as well. And I'm not entirely sure if it works the same way, but basically what it does is, in this case, it's like an LFO, like a volume LFO, right? So you take out a certain amount of information from the wavetable and only leave a little bit, which basically means that you're turning something into sort of a very transient heavy sound. And so the growl rack basically does the same thing. It takes an incoming signal, and then depending on what note you select, it'll add a specific kind of volume LFO to that incoming signal, which allows us to process it like a bass growl. So here's, for example, one of the things that I've done with it, and it sounds really cool. I'm gonna move it back here. So you guys may recognize some of the old kind of YouTube producer content where people kind of did these things where they would take some kind of synth, they would take their voice and turn it into something else and then actually use it in music. And this seemed to resonate really well. So I thought we might as well do some cool stuff today using that rack, because it's a lot of fun to turn anything into bass growls. So this is Ableton. And obviously this works in any synth as well. I mean, in any DAW. So for example, if I take Snap Heap here, I think it does have like 40 to 50 milliseconds of latency, and that's because of the built-in pitch shifter. Because tracking all the sort of information that's necessary is kind of difficult, especially when it comes to pitching. Yeah, so it has like 57.6 milliseconds of latency. You can technically go inside and take out the pitch shifter if you want it to be 0 latency, but in this case, I didn't, because you do get some really cool results messing around with the pitch and any incoming signal. So, and I thought that we would do this as a little challenge today, because I want to do this all with my voice. So basically, the whole bass line here, the whole drop should sort of revolve around my voice, essentially, which will probably be cringe for certain bits of the live stream. You'll have to like cringe a little bit. Yes, I also use a pitch shifter in the rack, yeah, but that's for just the pitch bending, essentially, that happens. So, for example, I can just show you guys. I will need the listen to receiver, because my mic audio is coming from that. So copy this link and paste it for the listen to receiver. And now you can hear probably my normal voice and this voice on top. That might be a little bit weird. Can you guys hear that? Is there like a delay between my voice and the growl rack? I'm gonna have to check here. Yeah, there's a little bit of delay. Right. So yeah, I'll just turn that off for a second. So I'll just record something. Once again, this will probably sound pretty funny. So I'll go ahead and record it. I'll put the Snap Heap on a different channel, and then what we can do is you can just record really cool rhythms and stuff via audio, and then we can just send that to the growl rack and it'll do the job for us. So for example, if I go input 7 audio, I can record some kind of bass line. So like a bum, 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 bum. Okay, that didn't record, damn it. Probably post effects. Yeah, stop. Bow, 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 bow. Oh no, it didn't record the whole thing because there's latency. Bow, 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 bow. There we go. So I'll cut that out and I'll put that over there. And I think we can kind of just time it. like that. I think it's already on repitch. Yeah. Bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, ba, ba, bum. Yeah, look at that. That was actually decent rhythm there. So now we play it. I'm going to turn off the input there. Well, obviously, you have to turn on the BPM. So we can go inside and change the note. So you can open up the rack, and you can see that you have a little piano roll there. So if you change the note, you can see how it's jumping around. Let's do this in D sharp minor, probably. And yeah, so now we can play around with it. So we have things like IR type, which it uses 3 different types of IRs. So that's convolvers essentially, because growls generally are a little bit too dry. So here, another thing that we can also do is you can put this to Complex Pro, and then we can just pitch it around and see what kind of results we get. Now, what's always difficult to do with these types of racks is making things follow your audio properly, especially when it comes to like the filtering and stuff that's happening automatically, because you have this little macro here which is called auto and mod. So what that means is that for the first half, you can set the maximum range of the auto filter, and then for the other range, you can basically just modulate it yourself, right? So you could automate this on this side, and then this side is just kind of sort of a maximum. Yeah, and you already have a sub in there. This is the audio modulation here, so I can lower that. And we get less transients being generated from the incoming signal. Can you tell what is your CPU? This is the, what's it called? Let me check. This is the Ryzen 9 7950X 16-core processor. So I kind of, with this PC build, I went like all out with the components. It's basically a really crazy AMD CPU, really crazy GPU. It was quite expensive, but this is sort of the computer that's going to be staying like this for the next 5 to 10 years, hopefully. I won't have to upgrade anything. And the funny thing is as well that I can use it only over the internet because it's not in my caravan, right? Because in my caravan, I'm using a MacBook Air M2. And I'm also trying to use the ROG Ally, which I got, which has a really good CPU as well. And that's mostly because there's a lot of stuff that I like to do on Windows instead of Mac OS, because I hate Mac OS for a lot of things. It is very efficient on some things now that I've noticed, but I just like the keyboard layout and stuff that is in Mac OS. So a lot of stuff I do on the ROG Ally, which has once again, it has the Z1 Extreme AMD CPU, which is crazy. It beats so many like laptop CPUs. It's nuts. And the lowest power draw I can get on the ROG Ally is like 5 to 6 watts. And that's running Windows 11, which is just crazy to me. This computer can take up to like 800 watts if it's like on full power draw. Which is nuts. So obviously I can't use a computer like that in a caravan, right? So I need something like watt efficient. Is it me or is there no stereo coming out of the growl rack? Yes, so that is all intentional. So the growl rack basically is completely input dependent. That means that the growl rack itself doesn't really have a specific sound to it. It does have a sort of processing chain that obviously gives it a certain processing characteristic. But more importantly, whatever is happening or coming into the end growl rack is going to be affecting the resulting sound like crazy. So if I put like if I change the pitch and stuff, or I put some kind of effect on that, it'll reflect strongly in the resulting sound. So in that case, because this my voice is mono, then of course the resulting outcome would be mono. So if we add something like maybe like a comp filter and stereo, turn on the mix, then obviously we would get a stereo growl out of it. So the AM thing here, what it does is basically use that window LFO table to increase the amount of ring modulation and make the transients shorter or like smaller, basically. And you can push it so hard that you can barely hear any of these sort of characteristic of the incoming sound. So I usually have a halfway or like a little lower. And then this is the pitch. You can hear some crazy high frequency artifacts and stuff because that's because of the mic input. I have some processing on there so the mic sounds clean. Because it's a Sony, what's it called again? It's like some kind of Sony lavalier mic. MVL, Sony, no, it's not Sony. It's the Shure it's the Shure MVL, yeah. And that's what I'm using. It looks like a tech support mic, but it's really good. But yeah, so what we can do then is we can open up the growl rack, and you can see that I have a little section here where I already have a diffuser in there. And what you can do here is you can add your own effects in there. So you can see that on the bottom here, I can just add more effects. Everything else you shouldn't touch, but here in the effects section, you can, for example, we can add some weird. You can add some bubbliness with the diffuser. You can also add more effects. We could add like a saturator in here. We can also add resonators depending on, for example, the note that we're on. We're on D sharp, so you could add a resonator, for example, and put that to D sharp. So that's D sharp. Maybe one lower. So we can do that too. There we go. But for example, I would add things like bit crushing, maybe like a Foreman filter, like a phaser will sound pretty crazy. Like if we add, for example, what's the phaser right here? Let's turn down the depth and the spread. Let's add some distortion after. Let's put saturate. Mess around. And we can obviously mess around with the IR card. We can maybe add some bit crushing in here as well to make it more unique to our own. Now you have a Skrillex growl, which is crazy. And then if we go inside and we mess around with the pitch, yeah, there's tons of fun that you can have with this rack. And then you can even bring in stuff that would usually not make sense. You can bring in things like hi-hat loops and other things. So, for example, and depending on how you set up the auto filter in here, you can get different results. I can add, for example, obviously you can add rhythm basses and all that kind of stuff. And once again, the cool part about this growl rack, and this is why I've taken so long to make one, is that it's all dependent on the incoming signal. So depending on what your incoming signal sounds like, that's what the growl will sound like, which is very, very hard otherwise to achieve. So if you were to take a different bass sound, the growl would sound different. Yeah. You can obviously take other growls in there as well. Ooh. Oof. Oh, that's nasty. you can take whole like lots of like bass loops and then basically turn them into growl basses. Sometimes you have to mess around with the auto filter here because some of the incoming signals can be very loud, meaning that it triggers the internal filter stronger than other signals. So you can see that turning that down. You take this one in. Maybe this one. Without it. And here. Yeah, I'm gonna turn down the bit crusher here a little bit. Down here. That's still very crushing. So without it, and with it. Yeah, so you can tell that you can get a bunch of really cool stuff out of it. And that's why I want to use my voice instead, because you can get a bunch of really cool rhythms and stuff using your own voice. So we can focus on the bum, 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 bum. Let's do something like that maybe. So I'll do post effects and I'll hit record. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. That's enough. And then I'll I'll move this around. I don't know if this is the right speed. It might be over there. I don't know. The speed looks a little bit like all over the place. Maybe it was a little bit all over the place with my own speeds. Let's see. Put this back on post effects auto. I'm gonna take out the bit crusher because it's a bit annoying to me. It's like it's like really in there. We could turn the bits further down. But I'm just going to take it out. So I'm going to turn on the... And then we can, for example, take a little bit here and then just paste that there. And then we can do a bunch of really cool stuff to it. We can stretch it, for example, like this. And we can pitch it around. And we can get a bunch of really sort of intuitive, complex... Still don't quite like the positioning here, so I'm actually gonna just kind of mess around with it here a little bit. I'm gonna stretch that over there. I'm gonna just stretch around the sample a little bit until we get like the proper spacing here for the individual parts. There we go, and right there, I think. What's really cool here too is because we're stretching and stretching around the sample, and we are on repitch. We're generating different pitches for the different sections, which sounds really cool. That actually sounds really cool, but I'm gonna keep it on Complex Pro here and then mess around. I'm gonna turn it down. In here, maybe lower the drive a little bit. Wow, that's nasty. And then maybe we can add a spectral gate after and see if maybe we can turn it into more of a Skrillexy type growl. Like that. Hello, Doggo. Hope you're doing well. So now I'm going to add some drums. I think I want to probably go with a sort of trap kick, but then a sort of dubstep snare. I think that kick drum is nice. Let's go with one of these newer snares. I think that one's nice. You just gotta shorten it. Gotta shorten the tail. So I'm gonna turn off the snapping there, and I'm just gonna make it shorter like that. reset the volumes, and then we're good to go. Let's add a MIDI. Let's fix up the sidechain because I think right now it's a little aggressive. So I'm going to go one for the kick and one for the snare. So I'm just going to double these. And I'm going to turn on the band here. First line up the kicks sidechain. Then make this one shorter. And then the snare. I'm going to take out that second kick drum. That's only going to come in on the second section there. So we're going to have a little bit more space to play around. So now we can just play around with the rhythms. I'm going to do Control J on that. And then I'm going to just kind of offset it and see if we can, maybe we can get some pretty cool results there like that. I'll just kind of duplicate it. Now we can also turn it more into like an FM bass. It's quite easy. You can actually use the comp filter for that quite well. If you put that on minus polarity and just mess around with the cutoff, or it gives the sound a little bit more of a sort of FM style. We can just gotta find the right position. But I want to keep it being a growl, so I'm going to keep it like that. I want to go back in here and just kind of turn it down a little bit more. So I want to turn that down. I think that first section sounds cool. And then I want something entirely else for that second section. So I'll do... I want like a double one there. So we'll get like a... Switch it up a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to take in a completely different signal. Sorry, my my throat. So I want to take a piano and see if I can turn a piano into a growl with this rack. So let me try that. Oh, I had the top chat on. You guys have been totally active in the chat, and I didn't see it. Great, thank you, YouTube. Look at this. If I switch to top chat, oh, now the site just reloads. That's weird. Oh, that's strange. Hello, Resolve. Hello, Akali. Tovin. Dog. I thought the chat died like 20 minutes ago, but it's probably just YouTube being stupid. All right. So I'm going to bring in a piano phrase. I'm going to take a little piano, and we can see. Let's just see how that tunes that piano into a growl bass. All right. We should probably tune it to be D sharp, and so D sharp. Louder. And we can also give it a little bit of a modulation by just kind of giving it a little bit of like a volume curve there. That's cool, but it gives it some really strange panning. Ooh, okay, there we go. Oh, sick. And then I want sort of a wham, wham, wham. That was actually super sick. Ooh, and I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna I think we're gonna use the pitch here. We're gonna assign this to an automation slot, so slot 1, and then I can automate it. It's 1 octave up and down, so we can probably just roughly estimate how much we have to jump around. So I'm gonna just take a little bit of a section there, and then I'm just gonna slightly turn it up until we're like roughly a semitone up. And then I want a completely different bass here, which will probably be something else. Maybe like a glitch that we can turn into a growl. Have you tried using your new filter racks on top of the growl rack for more funky stuff? Oh, you could totally do that, like with a band pass or something. Is the chat still active, or let me reload? No, okay. Now it's actually live chat. Sweet, perfect. Some e-guitar in this track would be sick. Oh, that could work too, yeah. Some kind of guitar sample. We could totally bring one in. I'm sure there's probably like a bass. Yeah. Bum, ba, bum. I think we gotta pitch this up quite a bit. And I think we're gonna turn it a little bit louder. Doesn't have enough information. Yeah, like that. And then it's stretch it out a little bit. Bum, bum, bum. Now, if we wanted to clean up the incoming signal, we can do that too. Generally speaking, I would probably just use a spectral gate to kind of clean up the incoming signal. But that's probably already too much with the main spectral gate, so maybe we just use it after. Or we'll just use a gate, probably, because the gate will probably just be cleaner. So the gate. One little trick that you can do is you can always bring in a multipass and then use a freeway dynamics. So on the lows, the mids, and the highs, and then just set up the threshold here of the lower band, the upwards compressor. And then you start pulling down on the ratio here, and that'll kind of turn it into a little bit of a gate. I'm going to turn up the snare drum. I think it's cool, but I want to turn it up 4 semitones. And then I'm going to add another really cool thing that I've been doing recently. And that is adding a snare punch layer. So I'm going to add a neat little plugin called AP Trigger Free. And I'm going to set the dry level here. So now I can remain some kind of punch in the sample, but I can pitch it around. So, for example, I can still pitch it up, and it'll remain sort of the punch there using the snare punch layer. I'll turn that up a little bit. And then I can change the gain as well if I wanted to. But that's probably too much. Let's go with a different sample there. set it to 4. There we go. For some reason, my connection is pretty poor right now. So let me try that. Just set a little section there. Gotta fix. I feel like this is a little bit too much. So I'll do probably one bass there and then some other sound, maybe like a glitch sound or something. So let's see if I have spectral glitches. Bring that in, and then we'll get some cool. Let's do this one maybe. I think that has to be over there. I want to stretch this a little bit more. Come on. Then a little bit more over there. A little bit of a fade. That's cool. I like that. Let's go into the VFX section because I want to add some nice little background effects in here. So I'm going to add maybe this one. And let's turn on the warp mode. Let's just replace it and see if we can find another one. I think that fits quite nicely, but I want it to be low pitch. I'm going to use another one and stretch it out. I'm going to put it on complex growl. And then we're going to clean it up with a kickstart. Or actually with an LFO tool, which is probably faster. Maybe faster, like 1.8. And then that section, that B section, I want it to be high up. That's 4, so maybe we'll do like a 3. You can also change the volume to have the auto filter react more aggressively. Then let's add some symbols in here. So I'm going to go to volume 14. I'm going to bring in some spectral symbols because they always sound nice. And then I'm going to bring in some regular symbols in volume 13. So we'll have symbols loop. There we go. Turn this one down. Copy the kickstarts here. Let's have a rather aggressive sidechain for the snare. I'm going to shorten the cymbals a little bit because I want this to be rather dry. Also, I'm going to quickly save it. Kickstart to on right beforehand, and then want to put it on 1/8. Just make it shorter like that. Did it copy the pitch? No, it didn't. Okay, because we probably had pitch automation. Yeah. So I want that. I want this to like kind of get dragged out a little bit. I want it to be more dragged out, and then I want it to pitch a little bit. So I'm going to go to the envelopes here, clip transposition, and I want it to do like a strong. Ooh, dude, that's crazy that it does that. That's actually nuts. What the hell? So that all that works. So if you have like an incoming signal that's pitching up and down, that'll work. That's crazy. Urex, yes. Have you tried noise gating out those artifacts? How do you do that stretching thing? Which stretching thing? You can even like go in here. And then here I want a completely new part, like a boom, boom, something like that. So I'll record that. Let's do 9 audio. Let's have an always recording section there. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, I think that should be good. Wow, wow. And cut that there. Wow, wow. Almost. Come on. Let me fetch this thing. Wow, wow. And that'll stretch over there. So we'll have some crazy stretching. Put it on complex. Actually, let's put it on tones so we have a consistent grain size. Let's make it louder. You gotta find the right size there. Dude, that's crazy. That's my voice, dude. That's nuts. Wow, wow. This comes in a little bit late, so. And then here I want just I want to listen to this thing without processing. So I'm going to turn off the processing when I hear what it sounds like. You guys ready? Yeah, I agree. It actually doesn't sound half bad, and I think it's because we've been working on this with the effects on, and then later on, right, we turn it off, and the sort of the songwriting aspect of it still is there. So that's pretty cool. One other thing that we can try is because most of these basically do not have any low end. Some of them do. So I'm gonna cut out. Shit. I'm gonna cut out some of the low end there. We can actually use something like frequency shifting and see if we can get some crazy results just messing around with that. sure you can probably play around with that as well, but I do like kind of working in the sample instead because I feel like it's simpler. Making a chill section by switching out the drums for chill drums and switching the growl rack for a spectral scalar rack. Oh yeah, for sure. I want to add some little lasers and stuff just to be layered. So I'm going to go with sustains and streamers. I'm going to just add that in here, and then I'm just going to sort of cut it to be these little bursts of energy. Maybe only that section. I'm going to have to repitch it. Maybe add a little bit of reverb to that, because I feel like that would sound quite nice if we had just like a little bit of reverb there. But it would have to be clean on the low end. So actually, no, we don't have to. You don't have to do this. Just add an EQ out. A little bit less. Make streaming from the caravan with the Starlink connection, because I just cut out. Let me check what's like eating my internet right now. Oh god, don't move, please. Is the head still tracking? Yes, it is. Okay, perfect. I think it has to have that other hit. And then it has to go. But for this section, I want no reverb. I'm going to turn that down. And we would kind of need like a offbeat hey or something like that, right? I feel like that's kind of necessary. Now, I don't have any vocals in here, so I'm going to have to figure out, probably record my own. So, bear with me. Hey! That should be good enough. Let's go to Vox, add another channel. Put that over there. Let's do Complex Pro. Pitch it down at least 7 semitones. Maybe a little higher. Let's add OTT onto it. There we go. Let's keep pitching it lower. I want to add like a little bit of redux to it, so it sounds a little bit more like sampled, like you sampled it from somewhere. That sounds good. I think we're probably generating new low end from that redux. Now let's see, because we're in a very specific type of rhythm. Let's see if maybe we can add some hi-hat loops in, as well here. So I'm going to try out some of these. Let's see how fast they sound. So I'm going to solo the drums here. Oh, that works really well. That's way too fast. I like that one a lot. I think the spectral symbols are probably too fast, so they have a lot of the higher harmonics way far too up. There we go. Actually, you know what sounded really cool? If you go like this, not with this one, but with the cymbals, because they have a very tonic, sort of very metallic sound to them. So I'll use the fine here to go up and down over time. Let's see what that sounds like. Let's push it further down. I think that's cool. Let's duplicate that. I think the cymbal loops here might be too high as well, so let's push that down as well. Now you could totally go inside and also add like you can add even more convolution in here if you wanted to. So we could go inside and go convolver and then maybe load up another face, dispose or something. Or another noise phaser in here. But at this point it probably like delays it quite a bit, so I'm just gonna keep messing with the phaser here. Take out the... Another cool thing that you can always do, if an effect is like too crazy, you can always take an audio follower and then just add that to the effect that you want. Let's see what that would sound like if we were to like kind of make it melodic and stuff. So I'm going to add spectral scale on the whole thing. I don't know if that's going to work, but we'll see. I'll put the key to D sharp. It would work, but it would, at this point, with all the processing and stuff, it would kind of do a little bit too much, as you can hear. Something that you can always do to kind of reduce the resonance here is not only turning down the low pass ceiling, but doing the same dynamics processing thing. So, for example, let's do another there. And we kind of split up the signal into different bands here. And then we do the dynamics on the different bands. And figure out what the highest point is. And then we'll take down the ratios. That helps a ton. And obviously the more bands you have, you know, the better the results, because you're being even cleaner. This sort of multipass technique works on a lot of things. Like it works on a ton of stuff. The issue is that it's always dependent on the incoming signal, so you want to have full control. So making it into a rack is kind of difficult. Yeah. But yeah, this is a growl bass, so it's not really super melodic or doesn't have a lot of tonality to it. So I'll probably take it out. And then here I want a clean bass that's probably something else. Let's see, maybe let's do a brass one shot, probably. Probably an E, so we have like a... And then we'll use a D here. turn off the EQ on this side because I want to keep it in there. And now one last thing I want to add to the background is sort of a high, intense sort of tension effect. I wonder if we could use maybe some of the spectral noises in here. Probably too much. Let's use a frequency shifter. Something in the background. Oh, whoa. Okay, that kind of does it. You can also try a ring mod. But I think the frequency shifter. And then I want it to slightly move up and down, or sort of be a little bit. And I want it to be slightly intense. So I'm going to use a really high rate and a little bit of amount. And then I want it to be slowly rising over time. So I'm going to use another frequency shifter and just sort of slowly rise it over time. We can probably add some peaks in here. I don't think this particular noise is going to work. Let's try a different one. I think that one's better. Let's add a little bit of reverb. What emotionality out of it? Control Z. Can't hear anymore. So because of the high pass. let's add some background effects as well. Also, let's make sure that the Valhalla room stops playing after the sound is done. So I'm going to take a... what is it? An envelope? Can't find it. Envelope follower. There we go. Add that before. Let's put the mix to 60%. And then let's add some back effects. So effects. I mean, some lifters and stuff. So I'm going to add maybe uplift 2. And I'll take out all the drums here. And now I want it to be super low and gargly. So I'm probably going to just take one. I'll do some really weird, wacky stuff. So I'll record something really stupid sounding. Sounds goofy as hell. And then I'm going to stretch it out like crazy, and we'll see what that creates. Because it might create some really cool stuff. It sounded super goofy, but let's see. ASMR, yes. So I'll put it to Complex Pro, turn on the performance. Let's turn it up a little bit more, and let's turn on the pitch. Oh, dude, that's nasty. What? Boy. So you can just do some warbly stuff into your mic and create complete like crazy sounds out of it. Of course, we've got like no information above like 5 kilohertz, so we might want to put. I mean, no, that's just the grain size. Let's use Complex Pro because that probably retains at least a little bit of it. An envelope. Nope, it's just completely gone down up there. Let's turn it up a little bit. And then here I want it to pitch up a little bit. I mean, I want it to be like a ba ba. That should also pitch up, please. Same amount. Maybe you can even do like a little pitch bend. Let's I wanted to take that and let's try a different section here. Yeah, that's crazy. Let's try this plastic here. Let's try the texture mode because that one can probably get us some crazy stuff. Let's stretch it even further. I'm going to duplicate this channel, and then for this section over here, I'm going to take that out and take this out. Then I'm going to try and see if I can add a little bit of like erosion before the snap heap, just to make sure that let's see if I added some information back in there. Sweet. Yeah, that helps a ton. Like adding a little bit of erosion in there before crazy processing, because obviously when we're pitching down this much, you know, we get some pretty harsh high frequencies. So it's doing the IR type up. And then it's try and play around with the AM. Let's turn on the scissor there. And now we can also try like adding a filter in here and seeing if that maybe helps. Oh, it's crazy. Okay. I want to play around with the pitch a bit more. Yeah, that's good. Okay, let's add a spectral gate, and then that should be it. Whoa! Okay, that's some crazy results. I'm gonna add a utility before and after just to get rid of the annoying artifacts there. Whoa! Okay. Dude, I'm gonna cut this one and probably push this one up. Let's stretch it a bit. Come on, let me stretch it a little bit. I'm gonna do a little crossfade there. Put it as a texture and let's play around with that as well. Okay, this one's definitely a little bit too much, though. So. And the first one's too expressive, so let's turn it down. And then this last one is probably too low as well. Let's stretch out this long vowel in the beginning there. Bomb, 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 bomb. Yeah, we gotta keep this. I gotta keep this one over there. Ah, come on. Copy, paste, move it. We'll keep this one up until there. And then I'll create a little synth. Insert MIDI clip. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Let's do a noise. Then, oh, not phase. We'll do semi-send. Nope. Ah, that was correct, actually. And then let's put it on this mode. Give it a shift of 1000. Random. Global unison 3. And then let's give it a OT. Let's actually see if this sounds good. You know what? Actually, if we just did this. Let's add some crazy detune to this, and then lots of voices. Let's actually add less, like that, yeah. And let's see if we can add like this. With a strong release, okay. And one thing I like to do if I'm not sure if the sub is always hitting 0, is add a multipass and just grab a transient shaper here for clipping. Just add a limiter to the low end. Always make sure that the sub is always hitting 0. And let's do -1 there. And this also allows us to further process the sub if we wanted to. So, for example, we could add phase distortion, so that before the limiter. And then we can add some nice harmonics to the sub. Let's add a little bit of an envelope to them too, just to see if maybe we can follow that. Yeah, I think now the spectral gate needs to go. Search a little bit further. Set up the automate. Test, test, test. Can you guys hear me again? Yeah, that's Starlink just kind of crashing on me for some reason. Should be fine now, though. Oh, I think it's everything. And oh, damn it. I noticed that way too late. Test. That's coming back in. Thank you very much. Not sure why Starlink decides to crash on me while I'm streaming. That's great to know. Let me find out some cool sort of rhythms here that I can record. Not so much. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, let's record that. Wait, I think I stopped too early. Yeah, sick. Okay, perfect. It's so nice because you can just kind of come up with these rhythms and then you can actually like turn them into basses, which is really fun to do. I think these are all a little bit offset. So once again, I'll put it to Complex Pro and then probably turn it down. I want it a little bit more simple. Oh yeah, okay, I got something. Let's try that. That might sound really cool. Yeah, it works. It's just a little bit offset. It's probably just me being not on time with this. So let's see. I gotta move that a little bit. I mean, I'm so off. That's crazy. Put it over there. Bump, beep, beep, bump, bump. Sounds like this one wants to be a little bit longer. Yeah, I love that. I love how it also repitches stuff when I like stretch it around. It sounds so cool. Let me put that there. Put this there. And then I think this one goes over here. This is the same thing, so I'll copy this over. And then I want this to be longer as well, like that. This sounds a little bit too late, so I'll move it a little bit over there. This also sounds like it's a little bit too late, so I'll move it over here. Actually, I think it just needs to be over here. Okay. Dude, that's sick. The fact that you can do this is crazy. Okay, now I'm going to just do Complex Pro. I'm going to mess around with the pitch and see if we can get some cooler results there. Whoa, dude. Pitch it. I want to stretch this one out like crazy, like that. Yeah, that's a bit too much. And then... sounds too much like my voice. Let me switch the tones. Let's try reset and texture. And now the trick is to take this cool rhythm here. I'm going to do Control J on that. And what I'm going to do now is we're just going to replay it. And then we're going to take A's and B's and stuff and like sort of starters and hits that we have in the regular one. I'm going to replace certain bass sounds in there with those. So let's just go there. And then we have. So let's go there. Growl does not use a vocoder. It primarily uses audio following and specifically a bandpass filter, which is, I think, in here. Yeah, so it uses a bandpass filter that follows the incoming audio, which creates all of sort of the filter movement by itself. You can obviously automate it yourself by moving the mod macro to the right side. This will basically let you control that yourself, but you can have this. You can use this auto filter mode. Which makes it a whole lot easier. But yeah, it's not a vocoder, but it does definitely sound like a vocoder. How do we get that preset? That preset is on my Patreon. That's part of the monthly Patreon snap heap racks and stuff. The brass is also part of a sample pack. It's volume 18. Bunch of. And then I'm going to mess around a little bit with the AM, maybe lower. Yeah, sounds crazy. Let's throw in a frequency shifter and see if maybe we can get some crazy results. Okay, I actually like that a lot. We just gotta turn it on in the sections that we need it on. Yeah, it's cool. Now we can mess around with it. Let's do create crossfade. Then I'm going to take a complex pro in there, and then I'm going to make these shorter because I find them to be too long. Bum, ba, ba, bum. And then I'm going to take a nice little amp, erosion, with white noise, switch up. Add a notch filter. Does multipass create phase issues when splitting bands? Yes, it's a minimum phase band splitter. You're right. They might add linear phase at some point, but both have their ups and downs anyway, right? That is saturated in here. Let's try a phase distortion before this. We might create some crazy harmonics with this. Yeah. No, we're fine. I'll keep that. Once again, if we wanted to turn this into more of a FM bass, we could just use a comp filter on the minus polarity mode and then find some sort of position there. Obviously, this is a bass growl, so it won't quite work. But that's usually how you can sort of squarify an incoming signal. You can obviously duplicate it as well. But I think at that point it's not good. You'll probably have to mess around with the AM, maybe lower it. You can actually create, you could technically just take out the N growl and use N bass design and do something quite similar. If you use N bass design and we put it to the same key, which would be D sharp. We could take in like an audio follower to modulate the modulate here. But definitely soften it so it's not too aggressive there. We've got to make sure that we have a remap going through this, otherwise it's too much. So we'll do that. And then we can start automating like high pass, and notch filters and all that kind of stuff. But here we would totally like want to use like the synth minus. But yeah, it's just kind of really difficult to tune voices into FM sounds. It's really difficult. Do you teach how to make samples, especially kicks, claps, and snares in depth on your Patreon? Yes, I do. There's a whole tutorials on that. Yeah. You could, you know, use phase distortion or something like that and send in a saw wave, but I'm not doing that here. So growls usually work really well. Now pitch down that snare a little bit, and I'm going to shorten it. And that kick drum, we're going to add an EQ in there with a saturator, and then we're just going to make sure that we boost some of the high end a little bit harder. And I want to add like some boom, boom, boom. So to insert MIDI clips, bam, and let's put this to one shot gate. Let's turn this up. Probably 0 dB. We don't want it to be too loud. Boom, 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 boom. Bip-bop-bom. Bip-bop. Let's do E. Bum, bum. Yeah, that's too long. Cut it there. Now I'm gonna switch up the snare drum for like a clap. Volume 17, go to clap trap, and then we're gonna switch out the sound there. Then switch out the clap there for the clap. And then we can just try out all kinds of traps. Trap taps. And I want to actually like kind of do some ridiculous processing on this bass. So I'm going to go with white noise, add a little bit of width, and add a sine wave in here. I want to do some crazy sort of, probably like 2 ODTs or something. Let's try some amp before the OTTs. It sounds a little bit squarified, so I'm going to add a Cage's face distortion, add some of that nice harmonic back in there. I mean, we can add some, we can layer some of the noises on top. So let's go to special noise and switch it from a sampler to a sampler. And then I know that you can tune the scale to 0, so it's always playing the same note regardless of what MIDI note you're playing. Let me check the chat here real quick. Are all in-depth tutorials included in night tier? Yes, all tutorials are in the night tier. You're right. Yeah, that's the kind of noise I was talking about. Listen to that. I don't think we don't need the erosion anymore there. Dude, it's crazy. Let's try a different noise. Let's try this noise maybe. I also want to add just one disperser to give it a little bit more bounce. Let's bring in a insert empty MIDI clip. Let's bring in a face plant. Ba-ba-bow. Ba-bow. Ba-ba-bum, 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 ba-ba-ba-bum. And I want to actually use a glitch sample for this. I want to see if I can maybe get some cool sort of sound out of this glitch sample. So in the effects in the bundle, you have the glitches. And maybe I can get some cool sounds out of that. So I'm going to map the route there. Bum, 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 bum. Let's loop just that section. Bum, 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 bum. Let's turn on where the notes at. Scale. Let's do Phrygian dominant because that usually sounds really cool. Oh, this is minor. Oops. Phrygian dominant. And then probably start there. Let's try a different glitch here. Let's add a spectral gate. Get rid of the low end. Let's add delay and put that to 2. And then we're going to add another sampler, and then we're going to pick a different section. It's a little bit too high for my target liking. So maybe the top one here is just extra. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Probably 5 actually. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, sick. And now let's add a pad in D sharp minor, and let's try and use spectral scalar for Ableton, because then we can use Phrygian dominant. Now this doesn't really repitch stuff, so we'll have to just filter out the in-key frequencies. Goodbye, Dex Knight. So then let's add an LFO tool, probably before it. Yeah, whatever. Let's try using a snare, trap snare instead of a clap. See if maybe that works a little bit better. Well, it's quite nice, but I think it has to go up one. That one fits a little bit better. Or actually, let's do. Yeah. Nope, it's too early. Nope. Let's turn on this thing, the data. I think just keeping that note is quite nice. And then we do. Dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. Nope. Okay. Then we have to probably do that. I've got these really nice trap hi-hat loops, which we can probably lay on this. Just got to find the right one here. I think that one sounds quite nice. Let's see, we can also do a halftime. I think halftime would sound pretty cool here too. So let's load up halftime. You can click on this band here, and then you can just focus down on the frequencies that you want. And then you can mix it in like that. I am not British. And then I think if we pick a more simple sound here, turn it up. Better key track this away. that last growl right there, I do want to just use a completely different chain for that section. So I'm just going to turn it off here. I do want to clean that up a little bit. So I want to change the IR type. Then I want to add a little bit of bit crushing in here because I feel like that's kind of really fitting for this type of growl. So bits down. Yeah, that's sick. And then, when I do this one a lot simpler, I'm just going to replace all of this with a regular noise supersaw, just as a layer on top. So semi-sand, do like some crazy stuff there. Let's do random slope. And then we can do this little trick where we get a note gate and we map that to the master output so the audio completely disappears. Let's add one little slice of cue. Sweet. Voice is higher pitched and highly compressed than before. Higher pitched. My voice is higher pitched. Might be that the other mic had a sort of lower tone profile to it, but my voice should be fairly fine. I might be like high passed, probably. That's probably what you're mentioning. But I can boost the low end like this. Does that sound better? I don't know. I would guess maybe like this, probably. That would probably sound better. Spider's so cool. Thank you. So for example, this bass drum, I'm gonna take out the phaser and replace it with a formant filter because they're much easier to control. Let's have that before the headbread as well. Ooh, dude, that's nasty. Now onto this trap snare, we can also layer once again with AP trigger because it's so much faster to do it with this thing. We can layer in one of these nice metallic snare glass layers that I've made for this particular pattern. So now. I want to lower the amount of phaser in here because I feel like it's still too much. I want to grab a slice EQ and kind of edit the... There's like a very specific... That's like a strong harmonic somewhere. somewhere on the hi-hat. Yeah. Probably similar here. But there's another rack that we can use that makes this whole process a whole lot easier. Spectral suppressor. Let's bring that one in. That one should be a lot easier to deal with. Wow. Easy peasy. Let's turn up the low end here. Sensitivity up. That can probably also go on the main base, actually. There's some annoying frequencies in there as well. Still on the delta. That's right. Yeah, those frequencies are quite annoying, so let's bring down the delta. There we go. Let's give this more time, 2 bars. I want this one to be a little bit more mid IR type, but less of the bit crushing because it's a bit aggressive. Mouse. I don't know if you know, but this bass is actually my voice. I'm gonna play it, for example, this section, right? I'm gonna turn off this snappy rack called growl. I'm gonna turn that off, and you're gonna be able to hear the before from that bass line. So this is without the processing from growl, which sounds like this. And then after. And same obviously goes for the beginning section there too. That's funny. And this as well, this long growl. Without end growl, it sounds like this. Hello, MSA God. I especially love this section. I think this section is so sick. Boom, boom. That's fire. So, just so you know, again, this is without the processing. And then with it. And then I want to go lower here because this needs to be a progression, right? It always has to be a progression, otherwise there's no journey. So it goes like... Nope, that's wrong. Right there. It does feel like it wants to do something else there, but I'm not sure. Yes, I growlified vocals. That's what I did. Yeah, and so this is called end growl and can turn anything into growls. As you can tell, that's my voice there, but you can also use anything. Like I can bring in, say, a spectral glitch. Like that. Remember that was a bit messy. But you can bring in basic like one shots from different bases. And it'll turn anything. Depending on the incoming. Base low shots work as well. And then double. And then you can control the amount of filtering that happens automatically. Yeah, it's very powerful. want to just quickly process the drop here. I feel like stuff is fighting a little bit, so I'm gonna have to like soft clip this before. And the last thing we probably want to do is like resample 13 audio and just kind of clean it up, right? I mean, the first section sounds fine. It's just this section. I think there's some like stuff. Yeah, like there, like little bits and clicks and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just gonna, I mean, we could just automate it, but we could also just increase the gate that we have on this. We could just cut it here. Actually, that might come from the processing itself. That might be more difficult then, yeah. We push this up a little bit hard, so let's turn that -1. Maybe -2, because it was a bit hardcore there with the sub. Yeah, and now we have a clean signal to work with. So we can just cut out a bunch of the weird stuff that we generate from doing this kind of crazy processing. There's a bunch of really cool little boozy transient layers there. Sound quite nice, but not in this case. Get those out. Okay, I see. Let's record this section as well. Hello, protocol. Goodbye, that smile. Sweet. Let's turn these off again, and then let's just start cleaning up this stuff again. Yeah, so here we have a little bit of a timing offset. That's probably because of all the processing. This one just has to be done there, or like an octave up. Yeah, sick. Cool. Interesting snare. Fire! Another trick, when you have a snare drum that is like already really processed, but it's just not coming through the mixdown, is to not actually saturate it even further, but to take a limiter first, turn the release down quite a bit, and then just crank it. That's going to push up all the rest of the body and the snare tail. I'm going to add just a little diffuser in between here to just smear some of the transients on top end. You could also go super crazy and like add, like we could do a new section here, for example. Copy this over. Bring in the spectral gate. Let's bring in some spectral drums in here. That snare drum and another kick drum. That one. And then we'll just replace these two with the top ones. So we could do like some super spectrally gated stuff there. And then all we have to do is just like mess around with the drum selection. Yeah, sounds sick. So all the different kickstarts are basically different sidechain files. So for example, this is for the kick drum here, as you can see. But this is only for the low end, so I can kind of do a proper sort of phase fading, right? So for the sub of the general sub and the kick sub, I can make sure that those do not overlap. And then I have another kickstart here for the mids and the highs. So everything else, which should be here, which basically does the rest, which is usually faster than the sub for the low. Yeah, that sounds super fire. I would probably just not process the low end. So I would have this at like 200 hertz. Do you still use the transient trick for your drums where you bypass the master? Yes, so these are still going to my master, and all the sort of mastering stage stuff would happen on the pre-master, so it's bypassing that stuff. So for example, if I were to do the old school sin of having an OTT on the master, that would only be on the pre-master, and then the master wouldn't have it, so that the drums are clean. So for example, if I go here, you can see that kick drum is now clean, even though you have an OTT on the pre-master. But if we had this OTT on the main master, you could see that kick drum would get all kind of weird and stuff. So the pre-master can have it, but just the drums should always be clean. I wonder what an OTT on the master would actually sound like. Maybe it sounds pretty cool, actually. Oh, the peaks are gone. I think there was one track, like years back, where unironically had an OTT on the master, just because it kind of created this very sort of compressed sound to it, which is a cool way to do it. But yeah, nowadays I wouldn't do that anymore. What happens when you put the randomized bandpass effects on the last long growl? Oh, that could work. And chaos right after snap heap. Keep the lows clean. Probably lower the bandpass amount and lower the speed and turn up the smoothing. Ooh, there's some cool stuff there. Some cool sweeps. Okay, that sounds like OTT on the master. It sounds pretty cool, actually. Just not the drums, please. Also, I think I have finally understood why oversampling has peaks in it. So if you guys know that oversampling usually used on like distortion, like saturation and stuff, and one of the reasons is because of foldback harmonics, right? You want the resulting inharmonics out of distortion to not sort of bounce back from 22 kilohertz. You want it to you're sort of extending the length of the frequency spectrum so that the inharmonics can keep going into the high end, in the high frequency region, and then it gets cut out after the fact. That's sort of the theoretical standpoint of oversampling. And what I've realized is that the reason why we're getting overshooting when it comes to the waveform is because this is basically what's happening with oversampling, is that after that step, you have to downsample back to 44.1 kilohertz, right? So it jumps up to 88 point whatever, 88.2, I guess, does the saturation, and then it jumps back down to 44.1. And I'm guessing that there's some kind of low cut happening. There has to be like some kind of cut, right? It's like the same with a bit crusher, for example. If you take a bit crusher, where is it? Right here. The bit crusher naturally usually starts at 44.1 kilohertz. So then, and then the first sort of half. As you can see, if I turn on the EQ, in this case, it's alias, so I believe we have to turn on these ADCQs here. There we go. So you can see it's basically a low cut. And a very steep one at that too. And I would guess that that low cut is probably not linear phase. And because it's linear phase, because it's minimum phase, as you can see, we're getting overshoot. So we're getting overshoot, but in general, I'm going to turn on the V-clip here. Without oversampling. So like that. So everything's clean. Then with the bit crusher. Yeah, we're getting overshooting here simply because it's using a minimum phase filter to do this. As you can see, we're getting free samples. I'm not sure what it's using free samples for. But that would be the aliasing here. And then it's doing it smoothly. So what's happening is, the way you can think of it, is that oversampling and saturation basically adds a low cut at 22 kilohertz. And so that means that in a very noisy profile like this, you're just going to have overshooting. But all of the overshooting that's happening, it's just the high end. As you can see, it's not happening on like the low end bass or anything like that. It's just happening on the high end. Which is great, because that means that we can just safely do a hard clip afterwards and not really have to worry about it, because it's just hard clipping those little peaks there. We're still getting the benefits of oversampling, if that makes sense, right? I can show you, I think it should be very noticeable, for example, on a sub. If I were to, for example, do, let's say, an auto filter. Let's boost the crap out of this. Let's do an oversample without it. I think we haven't even pushed it enough. It's usually on the high end, so let's do. It hurts. Oh, that hurts really bad. I'm sorry about that. Holy crap. Let me turn this down. I think I'm going to lower it a little bit. I mean, honestly, I'm not seeing much of a difference. But maybe this signal is just too complicated. We could try a bandpass. See maybe if we can... It does look a little lower, like it's lowering the amount of foldback harmonics, but it's still clearly there. So maybe doing a factor times 4 is fine, and then just doing a hard clip after. I think in this particular case, spot it really works. It sounds a little bit weird for me when I sidechain the high different than lows, so I use sidechain compression instead. You can do that, yeah. Your step heat recs are amazing, and sampleplex. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hello, Koi. Hope I didn't butcher that name. Sweet bump. Yeah. Sweet. That was fun. I don't want to add too much because I've already started way too many IDs through these live streams. But yeah, this was sick. Yeah, this rack is insane. Honestly, it's crazy. Now, of course, this is something I haven't mentioned yet, but it's not only great for working with audio. You can also use it directly in Faceplant. And the reason why that works so well is because it's just doing this technique that I've been doing. Instead of using bend plus minus, you use a wavetable, modulator wavetable called window. So window 1, 2, and 3 allow you to essentially shorten the window for volume to come through. So I can show you this by just using, say, noise. I can play a note. I can find the keyboard. And then if I start adding this wavetable here, and I can move it. So what you're doing is you're creating transients doing this technique. You can actually see this really well if I pull up, say, just this little section here. And I do vision, so you can kind of see it. So let me play a note. You can see that I'm basically creating a bunch of transients by using this wavetable. Obviously, you could change the wavetable independently from the speed of whatever note that you're pressing, so I could make it slower. But what's really cool is that this is a wavetable, right? So this tracks the pitch, which means that instead of using a noise, you can, for example, use a complex wavetable. And say, let's go to the spectral section here. Let's go with my harmonic bend. And then what we can do is we can do the same technique where we send the window wavetable to the harmonic blend wavetable. You can see that we're now once again generating transients, and then we can go through. And the shorter the transients are, the less of a difference the harmonic blend does. So if we open it more, you can hear this really cool sort of bass growl type characteristic, and we can obviously just mess around. can even mess around with changing the pitch or the harmonic there. But more importantly, I'm using this exact wavetable. Actually, I'm using a little bit of a different wavetable because I had to duplicate it. I mean, sync it in Growl. In here, in the pre-effects section and the snap heap section, I'm using this with a limiter in the LFO table. You can see it's a very similar shape there. And I'm letting you control the table position with the AM. So you can shorter like that or more open. So it's the same technique that you can basically do in a with the wavetables, but in audio, which means that usually with an audio signal, you would select the C0 to B0, you select the note of the bass growl, and then that would be it. But it does have MIDI input, which means that as soon as you have N growl in faceplant, it'll deactivate the C0 to B0. Was that I think that was a subscriber. Hello. It'll deactivate the sort of manual pitch, and it'll just follow the pitch of faceplant. And you can hear I can take out this wavetable now, and it all works. So I can take the AM down to 0. It'll still do a little bit of it's not 100% clean without it, so it's still doing some of it. But you can hear it's almost pretty much like the original. If I go into NGRAL here, you can see that in the LFO table, it's almost the original. Not quite there, but almost. I can take it out, you can hear. It's very, very similar, but it wouldn't make sense to be able to turn this off all the way, because then you can just use N-Bass design. So I usually have it in the middle, so it gives us a nice amount of crunch, and then you can go for the wavetable, but that's not really all of it, right? With bass growls, usually you want to incorporate some kind of bandpass. So that's happening automatically here on the left side. So I can take the attack here, for example, of the envelope up, take the sustain down, take the hold up, turn up the decay. And now what it's doing is it's creating a filter movement from the incoming signal. So that, sending that to NGRAL. Now it's following sort of the waveform of the sort of amplitude of the envelope here. Which also means that if you, for example, just keep it sustained all the way up, you can do LFO, for example, and then we can do that on the output gain. And let's say we wanted it to be some kind of quarter note bass sound. We can do that very easily just by doing this. And you can see now that auto filter. Will react accordingly. And then if you combine that with, let's say, an LFO going through the wavetable, so we actually get some movement in the sound. And now you can just go crazy and use all kinds of weird wavetables. Wow, that one's nasty. Holy crap. Once again, without it. So yeah, you can tell it's very, very transient heavy, and that's exactly what growls are. And then growls, I mean. And then we can add some stereo into it, because obviously it does stereo as well. So it's sort of the end-all, be-all sound design tool for bass growls. And then you can, go with some other stuff. And the cool part is that you can then, for example, throw on something like spectral gate and make it more into like a Skrillex type growl. I'm going to open up the filter a little bit more. yeah, it just basically turns anything to base growl. And then the cool part is that you can also use like granular, for example. So we can bring in granular. We can turn off the comp filter. Let me check if the live chat is still moving along. Yep. Okay, it's fine. Cool. And then, oh, I can hear myself. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. There you go. We can, for example, load in some kind of glitch sample. So we can go to glitches, just load up some random glitch. Maybe one with a little bit more information. There we go. And it'll just kind of work. Like, it'll just do its thing. Let's move around the waveform. Let's turn off the spectral gate here. So we can go. That one's kind of crazy. We can also just let the grains sort of determine the rhythm here a little bit by turning up the grain envelope, turning down the grains amount. Yeah, it's kind of nuts. And then, of course, you can get a completely different type growl if you just kind of mess around with the settings and go inside to the effects section and add your own stuff. Like we could add maybe another convolver, just makes it crazy with the noise phaser 2 here. That's stretching. And then, you know, we mess around with the pitch. And get some crazy stuff. One of my favorites is usually bit crushing. It adds quite a nice sort of growliness to it. And maybe like some comment. And then you can just go through the glitches and stuff. You can go, for example, through some, let's do for some actual like spectral glitches. Yeah, I mean, you can just get growls for days, honestly. You can just get growls for days, it's crazy. Now you can try and also, you know, make it color basy by having like a spectral scaler beforehand. You could try and see what that does. But in this case, it's probably we're doing too much other stuff to it that's causing it to. You will probably have to turn on the AM here. could try it after, but honestly, that's probably generating so many sort of resonant harmonics just because of all the transients that it's reacting to, right? So it wouldn't be too effective in that. Whoops. So yeah. Let's delete that. Listen to the thing that we've done one more time, and then I think it's time to say goodbye for this week. Just a little reminder of what the dry sound sounds like. Oh, this as well. And then on again. But yeah, with that being said, this was a ton of fun to do. I think I'm going to try and make one as well that would maybe turn something into an FM based. I think that'll be a lot more difficult to accomplish because FM bases are usually based on doing on squarifying stuff, but it should be possible. It should be possible. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I'm going to switch to the main. Hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. This was a lot of fun to work on. And other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. For anyone from the Patreon, I'll see you guys on Sunday. We'll be doing another live stream, exclusive live stream there. And yeah, other than that, I'll see you guys in probably 2 weeks. And then I'll try and get something ready with the Discord server so we can do some kind of interactive stuff there. But yeah, other than that, have a great weekend.